My name is Chris Skyhawk, and I'm the founder and director of Passage to Manhood. We are a mentoring and rites of passage organization that works with young men and their families on the Mendocino coast in Mendocino County, California. I recently started Passage to Manhood because I believe that we really need to fill a void for young men. We don't often have a significant rite of passage for young men. We have graduation ceremonies, we have a number of academic activities and extracurricular activities, but we don't have very much in the way of ceremony in terms of really looking at young men and who they are and who they want to be. We also don't very well support our families in that transition. We often look at adolescence as a time of turbulence and trouble, and I know that this is not inaccurate, but I look at it also as a time of great opportunity. The young men are starting to come out of boyhood and are starting to transition. The reality of who they are and who they are becoming is starting to become apparent, and if we have the right structures in there to help them get deeply into themselves, to help figure out who they are and who they're going to be, then we will have an opportunity for them to really step into a healthy adulthood, a healthy manhood, a strong reality of being a human being in this world and on this earth. I also wanted to address what I see as some very prevalent age segregation in our society, where younger people just hang out with younger people and older people just hang out with older people and middle-aged people just hang out with middle-aged people. I really feel like we are losing some valuable elements of our human circle when we do that. By teaming mentors with young men, we start to break those divisions down. The young men get the benefit of the wisdom and the experience that the mentors have had, and the mentors also get the benefit of being a part of bringing the next generation forward into their own type of solidity. We don't do this lightly. We do this with very serious air. We want to look deeply at who that young man is, who he is becoming, work with him on manifesting his own vision of who he is. We're not their teachers, we're not their counselors, we're not their clergy people. We are people who are interested in helping bring forth the inner voice of each person that comes into our program and each young man that comes into our program. We are a rites of passage organization. Rites of passage refers to the very significant events that occur throughout our lifetimes. For many men, there hasn't been a significant rite of passage at the time of adolescence, and sometimes older men can come into a chronological adulthood, but lacking that significant rite at an earlier age, there sometimes is a feeling of isolation, a feeling of confusion and uncertainty. We want to invoke a ceremony where that young man knows that he has arrived. He knows that his time of boyhood is over, and he sees recognition in other people's eyes that he is becoming a man, that he is stepping into manhood at this time in his life. I'd like to talk about the principles that make up our program and some of the philosophical foundations that we work with. On our logo, you can see at the center we've used the yin-yang symbol, and that is, to me, the symbol of the person. There's the seen and the unseen, the male and the female, the light and the darkness. All of that is contained in each individual human being. Our code of honor is honor earth, honor self, honor family, and honor community, and those are the spokes that stem out from the center. And on the outer rim, we have what we're calling the four masculine attributes: power, vision, generativity, and stewardship. Our code of honor is not a set of laws to enforce upon oneself, but rather a checkpoint for a young man to consider how to live a life of integrity, responsibility, and joy. Our attributes our power, vision, generativity, and stewardship. We'll be looking at those in terms of asking each young man how he would like to relate to those attributes. How would you use your power as a man in this life? What is your vision for this life? Generativity, what are you going to create with this life? Stewardship, how are you going to get there? Who is overseeing this whole project? Our principles are not laws or dictates that we are trying to preach to young men, or to anybody else for that matter, but rather a way of cultivating that life of integrity, a way of looking at how you're going to relate to yourself, how you're going to relate to the world, and your relationship to those attributes will determine how your life course goes in your 20s and 30s and 50s and 60s and 80s. So we want to develop a bunch of exercises that really ask young men to take a look at that and to get some feedback in terms of what they want to get out of this, what they want to have as their relationship to these attributes, and how to use that code of honor to cultivate their power and their integrity. We'll be running our first program in summer of 2012. The backbone of our program is 2 retreats at the Mendocino Woodlands. It's a beautiful old camp on Big River here down in the Redwood Forest. And there will be a retreat in June and there will be a retreat in August. And in each of those retreats we'll be doing some looking at the attributes, we'll be doing some sweat lodges, we'll be doing some storytelling and some poetry sharing, and setting up some times for mentors and the young men to be together. And we will be culminating with a coming of age ceremony at that second retreat, where we will do that rite of passage that will help that young man to know that his time of boyhood is over and his time of manhood is now beginning. In between those 2 weekends, we have a number of what we're calling enrichment activities. We're going to be doing a ropes course and getting up in those high trees and finding out what it's like to jump off the ledge into the forest canopy below, but be tied to something that's safe. There's also workshops for the parents and guardians. We'll be doing 2 workshops where the parents and guardians will be together and talking about the issues of raising young men, both the problems and the joys of it, and involving them in the coming of age ritual also, because it's a significant time for the parents and guardians of the young men who have brought them this far. So it's a way of saying, congratulations, you've got them to here, and now you get to let go of something, and there may be new responsibilities, but there's also new freedoms for you at this time. And we have a couple of speakers lined up, men in our community who have been through quite a bit and are willing to share and to allow some of their wisdom to be gleaned from the young men. If young men are watching this and are considering coming, I would say please consider attending with us. This is a lot of fun, and it's also something that's very serious. As you step into manhood, you will be faced with many challenges, and there will be many times along the way that you may feel isolated and troubled by the issues that come at you in life. If you have heard from some older men who have been through some of these challenges, it may be very helpful to you as you go through them yourself to know that someone has walked that road ahead of you. If you're a parent, consider attending because it's a joyful thing to do. It's a joyful time in your life to see that person that you've brought this far start to emerge into who he is really becoming, and to be honored for your role in that is a great thing, and something that parents also deserve to be heartily congratulated for. If you'd like to know more, please visit our website, passagetomanhood.net. We'll also be developing some other programs. In addition to our retreat, we'll be going into schools and various institutions where youth are, and working in a number of ways with our attributes and our code of honor, and trying to raise the bar of discussion on what it means to be a man in today's world.